Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF44 coming at you with another video. Enjoying another day off at home, feeling good. So I'm just kind of paying attention to what's going on with the Lakers situation. Jared Dudley's comments about Paul George. Paraphrasing, of course, he was basically saying, he can understand why a guy like Kawhi Leonard would put himself on a level of a championship, caliber player like LeBron James on that level. He could see that, but he doesn't believe that. Um, he feels like for them, the Lakers, they don't respect that coming from Paul George. My opinion on that is kind of tricky because I don't disagree necessarily. If Paul George is putting himself on a level of a champion who hasn't, someone who hasn't won anything should not be doing that, more or less. That's what it comes down to, cut and dry. If he's doing that, I could see where others would disagree with that. I haven't heard of him doing anything like that, saying anything that would allude to that. So I want to make that very clear. I haven't heard any comments that I would deem fitting the bill in regards to what Dudley's saying there from Paul George. But that's not where my gripe comes from. My gripe comes from Jared Dudley looping others into his opinion. If some people told you some things in confidence in the locker room about an opposing player, that should stay in the locker room. If you want to vocalize. If you want to voice your opinion, that's fine. Go ahead and voice your opinion, but don't loop other people in on that. Don't say, okay, well, we feel, because LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and their other teammates have not said anything about this. And they want to represent themselves in a certain light, and they should be given an opportunity to do that, not have their opinion or possible opinion being funneled through any one person on the team. I don't think that that's cool. Now, I know a lot of people are going to come to this conversation and say, why does Jared Dudley find himself even mentioning anything about players of the likes of LeBron James and Paul George? He's nowhere near that. Of course. I don't even think that's really necessary to further get into. But at the same time, I also understand Jared Dudley to be someone who's looking to have a TV job possibly, or have his face, be a talking head out here as well. So he's been working on that aspect of his career for a while, and we know he'll transition into that. So it's on par, you know what I mean, with what he's shown us. He wants to be a part of that. So with that being said, you'll take opinions, and sometimes he'll do things that might shock you. Sometimes he'll say things that are supposed to grasp your attention. He's just playing the game. But at the same time, it's like you are a player in that locker room. The Clippers are a rival. There are some underlining tones outside of basketball that may be between these two teams for reasons that, have to do with Trez being on the squad and some of the other stuff that has happened. So obviously, we got a guy on this team who has a brother on that team. So it's tricky, man. You got to be very careful as it pertains to this particular situation. I think if you're Jared Dudley and if you're the Clippers, and if you're like anybody else on the team, it's just you don't want to represent others when you speak, especially condemning someone else for something that you haven't really proven yourself. I mean, yes, did you win a championship? Of course. Did you have the biggest role on the team to where you were contributing to a whole lot of success? No. So from that perspective, I don't think he can even speak on a guy like Paul George's name like that, to be honest with you. Not to say that Paul George has won anything, but we know who's a better player. We know who's accomplished more. So that's not to poo-poo on Jared Dudley's accomplishments in this league. He's been in this league for 16 years. He's had a very long career, some successful situations in the NBA championship. But he's no Paul George, and he's certainly no LeBron James. So he shouldn't be speaking toward Paul George on behalf of LeBron James. That's really what this comes down to for me. Now, if LeBron James wants to come out and say, yo, Paul George, I'm not feeling how you're approaching certain things, that's a conversation they should be having behind closed doors if that were to occur. But that would be LeBron James' prerogative to want to come out and say whatever. If AD felt that way, it should be their prerogative to come out and say what they're going to feel. Not Jared Dudley's responsibility to come through and funnel that information to the public. I didn't like it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a Laker fan, but I did not like that. Now, if they came to This could have happened. They could have very well said, hey, yo, JD, go out there and let them boys know how we feel about this. And if that took place, then I got nothing to say about it. In that particular scenario, that is not my opinion anymore. The opinion I just displayed to you, hey, if they're cool with it, I'm cool with it. But I get the feeling ain't nobody do that. Nobody go out there and tell Jared Dudley, hey, go talk about Paul George out there. You know what I'm saying? Go out there and stir the pot. Give them some bulletin board material. I don't think any leader on this team said that. And for him to be a leader on this team, that's not the example we want to show to guys like Kuz, guys like THT, guys like Caruso. That's not the example you want to show our young players, man. Not at all. So, kind of disappointed in JD on that one. You know, I'm not a Paul George guy. I'm not a Clipper guy by any stretch of the imagination. But some things are just, you know, they're problematic, man. They're problematic. That type of stuff you don't need from a guy at all, but definitely not from somebody who's not going to be on the floor when you have to stare down the barrel of a gun. You know what I'm saying? Like, he ain't going to be out there looking at Paul George when he's stringing together 7 threes on us because he's thinking about these comments. Like, you're giving the guys a motivation, talented people motivation. And that kind of thing can bite you in the backside. We got enough to focus on. The West is not an easy conference. The Clippers ain't the only team we got to focus on. And yes, giving them a little something to think about may not be the worst strategy, but it's how you do it. It's how you do it. You may get the wrong result of what it is, the wrong consequence for what it is that you're trying to accomplish here. So, you know, that's what I got to say about that. And personally, honestly, I like JD. He's cool. But that's a roster spot we can give to somebody that we really, really need. I'm not gonna bull crap you guys. We're a good team, maybe even a great team, but I see holes in certain parts of our roster that concern me at this stage of where we're at. Still think we're gonna win it. Still think we can win it. But I think it would be wise for us to get better. And having guys like Jared Dudley sitting around just chilling, chirping at the media and all that, that's a roster spot we can give to a defensive youngster at the 4 spot or a 5 guy or somebody who can help us in some areas. So, you know, that's my opinion. If we're going to sound off, let's sound off on that. My name is BDF44. I'm out.